Okay, here we go again, another episode. Yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah. And going back to the diary that Johanna writes every day, because we did a trip from Kota Kinabalu to Phuket through the Singapore Straits, and we wanted to refresh our memory of what happened. And here it says in big letters, washing machine.
Yeah, we did this trip. It was about 1,500 nautical miles from Kota Kinabalu to Phuket. About 6 days in total, with 3 of us on board. And about 36 hours in, we did hit some good 3-meter waves, 35-knot winds that lasted for a long time. So we diverted, but continued on the next day.
Yeah, it was the first time we really felt like the boat was being put through its paces. It was on the nose. It came up quite quickly. It was the South China Sea, and the impression that it's always calm and flat near the equator is probably quite wrong, because we had, as Johanna said, 35 knots. It was a real test. So we didn't actually get any footage of that, sadly.
No, the boat
but you have to trust us.
Yeah, the boat handled really well. It was more that we didn't know how long this system was going to last for. And over 24 hours of it, we decided to, okay, let's give ourselves a bit of a break.
Yeah. So we had some lovely weather as well in the journey. But this episode, we wanted to just go through that, a little bit of our time in Georgetown, because when we make these episodes, we like to include a little bit of what we've seen shoreside.
Yeah, definitely.
And then some nice drone footage and maybe a little bit of diving around Thailand.
Yeah, our time here in Thailand has been fantastic, and we'll share some of those highlights that we've had here with our diving. Lots of beautiful islands to explore, and I hope we can show you a little bit more of the boat inside as requested. So
yes, that's been a constant request, is to see more of the boat and how we operate the boat. So we will make a concerted effort to do more of that for sure, and a bit more interesting editing, hopefully.
Yeah, okay.
We're trying.
Let's get into it.
Yep. Ta.
Ta.
Okay. With a very good weather forecast, we started the engines and headed off to take the trip around the bottom of Singapore and up the coast to Penang on the other side of Peninsular Malaysia. 6 days in all, and it was looking good. We said goodbye to great friends in Kota Kinabalu and headed off for the first 2 days with magic cruising conditions. Flat seas, lovely sunsets. It really was amazing. What we hadn't realised, and partly because I hadn't toggled on the Starlink so we had an internet connection, was that about 3 days out there was a fast forming low in the bottom of the South China Sea which was going to hit us. We ended up heading into 2 to 3 metre swells straight on the nose with 35 knots, and we didn't have anywhere to hide because we were making a direct shot for Singapore. The choice was turn and run back to the coast of Borneo, seek a bit of shelter, wait for it to dissipate, and then continue the journey. It was the wisest choice, and one which saw us delayed by about 12 hours before we eventually would get to the Singapore Straits. We hit the traffic separation zone in Singapore at about 2 o'clock in the morning on an evening with no moon. It was dark, relying completely on the navigation system, lots of radio calls, and the direction we were coming involved us crossing over the separation zone at the entrance to get into the right-hand lane to head around Singapore and up the coast of Malaysia. It's the busiest shipping lane in the world, but we did it and it was a great experience and we learnt a lot.
So, after 6 days at sea, we reached Penang. We had travelled some 1,300 nautical miles since leaving Kota Kinabalu in Borneo. We arrived at sunset and dropped the anchor in a little bay south of the island. After such a long passage, we slept very well that night. Next morning, we made our way to Georgetown. Lots of big ships in the channel mixed with small fishing boats pulling up nets. It's a contrasting view of people going about their day-to-day life with the presence of large freight ships. The marina in Georgetown was our port for exiting Malaysia. The berth we were allocated is the smallest one we've been in, might have suited our previous Fleming 55 better. After a shower and a clean of the boat, we put shoes on. Yeah, that's actually a novelty after a few days at sea. And we set out to explore some of the charm and culture that Georgetown has to offer. Hey.
Tell me, what did you think of Georgetown, just quickly?
Georgetown, lovely place, lots to see and do. Fantastic old town with a lot of interesting buildings and street art. Great restaurants and visually a stunning place to visit.
From Georgetown in Penang, we blasted north for about 20 minutes before going back to our normal cruising speed of 9 knots, just to clear out the tops of the cylinders and get rid of any varnish and gum that's built up over the last number of hours, 100 hours or so. And then it was straight through to Thailand, checking in Phuket at Geelong and getting ready for some islands and diving, sunsets and cold beers. It didn't take us long to check in and then find our feet and our desire to get out and get to some beautiful islands. We'd heard about a lot of them, and so it was just time to get out and do it. Heading off early in the mornings, making water while we're going, and just getting ready to enjoy.
I was out drinking, looking for the next thing. I couldn't really settle down. Always on the run, I didn't want to slow down, but baby, then you came around. Yeah, you came around. No, I won't ever let you down. I promise you that I'll hold on. I know that it gets tough sometimes, so I'm here to remind
As you can see from this drone footage, we managed to find some beautiful islands. We found islands that were uninhabited, we found islands that felt very remote, even though we'd come around the bottom of Singapore and up to Phuket, one of the most prolific tourist areas in Asia, certainly in Thailand. The days seemed to have a lot of boats around, charter boats, day boats, speed boats, packed with tourists. And once you got used to it, we found we were able to get through the day and then enjoy the afternoons when they all left and we'd be on our own, which was really fantastic. So sometimes you'd be diving or in a bay with literally 20, 30, 40 boats, but then by 4 o'clock you were the only boat left and it was peace and quiet and a nice sunset to enjoy just on your own. We had come here to enjoy the diving, and the diving was good. The water was clear, the water was certainly very warm, and the corals and some of the small fish were great to see. But as it is above the water, it was below the water, and sometimes we'd drop in for a dive and 15, 20 minutes into the dive turn around and find there were another 15, maybe 20 people coming your way. We got used to it, took it in our stride, and enjoyed the diving that was there to be had. It is a diving mecca, so it was only to be expected. The islands have some beautiful topography. As I said, sheer cliff faces, limestone cliffs, and then some boulders, some sandy beaches. It really was quite varied in terms of the topography and the feel. The common thing was that it was hot, it was humid, and the water was clear. And generally, we found the drinks to be cold and the beach life to be really good. The little restaurants can be found everywhere. In every bay, there's a little cafe, restaurant, serving Thai food with cold beer any time of the day. So we chased that around, enjoyed our time, and just enjoyed the sunsets every day. They just seem to come along like buses. They're regular, they're almost guaranteed. That was Thailand, and we loved it. If you're still watching this far, thank you. And the next episode will be our yard period, pulling the boat out of the water, getting it ready to ship to Europe, and a lot of bits and bobs that need to be done. So, that's it for now. Thanks again. See you next time.